exceeds all expectations.
It exceeds everything.
So we're starting to show off right this morning. That's going to be kind of scary this morning. Why did I say this morning? It's been a long day. It's not morning anymore.
It
So I
is.
clicked the button a little early. It's like 2 minutes early. It still counts. It's okay.
A little early. It's like 2 minutes early.
Oh, Tad's watching the show. Oh, it was Jim. Rookie.
I'm famous.
Rookie. All right, you're going on probation, Jim.
Okay. Double secret probation?
Oh no, the public knows about this. I'm clipping a corner of your streamer card. So we have been messing around with TNCs since August of last year. And we have built out our own TNCs, 2 of them, and we have hooked them directly to each other, no radio involved, and they work. So now I brought in a ringer. Tad here is part of the development team, and Tad wrote all the documentation. We've been saying nothing but bad things about his documentation for the past couple of months. That's sarcasm. I mean, Tad's here. Otherwise, it's not. I'm kidding. So the goal tonight is to make a contact with myself. I have the Yaesu FT818 connected up to a NinoTNC, connected up to a Raspberry Pi, and connected up to a dummy load, and it is sitting directly next to a Yaesu FT8800 set on low power, connected up to a dummy load, connected up to a NinoTNC, connected up to a Raspberry Pi. And I've installed the TARPN image. I ran the W script that we did a couple of episodes back. We ran through that all together as a group. And here we are. And I don't know where to go from here. So I guess we should get started. What do you think, Tad?
I think we should. I put a link to the executable on Discord.
I see it.
Yeah. If you unzip it, and you can run it directly wherever we're in the download folder. And what you want to do is make several copies of it, maybe 4 total. And then you run them individually, and you can use them for different things, including 1 or 2 of these on each of the nodes.
I'm going to share
called Qt Term TCP. And it's available for Mac, for Linux, and Windows, and runs on the Raspberry Pi. We actually install a copy of it on the desktop of the Raspberry Pi as part of the TARPN installer, but running it on VNC is kind of inconvenient.
Yeah, what happened? So let me... Oh, I just was agreeing with you that it was pretty cool that it's part of the TARPN install image. Let's see. Is wget installed? It is not installed. I don't know the curl switches. I don't use curl enough.
You can just grab that link and throw it in a web browser and click on it.
I sure could, but then I'd have to move a web browser screen over here.
Hars.
wget. Yeah, that's what I use.
Yeah. I was using computers before web browsers were invented.
I used to use links. You guys remember that?
I do remember links.
So there's LYNX and there's LINKS. I think there's also LYNKS.
LYNX sounds familiar.
That's the one I remember.
The text-only web browser.
Mm-hmm. Text-only web browser, yep.
You want to make it die, go to MSNBC or some site like that with 10,000 clicky, blinky things on it. It will not display correctly most of the time.
Okay, what you're looking at is an app that runs in a window on the Mac.
Yeah. And usually you just copy this right into your applications folder.
You could do that. And I would make a copy of it and just throw it v43-1, v43-2, or something like that. And that will let you run, because it won't let you run it twice with the same package. You have to have multiple copies of it.
I forget where the binary is.
Why are you looking for a binary?
Because on macOS, it's a folder.
You just take the whole package. The .app is all you need. Run, double click on that in the Mac and it runs.
It's weird how Mac does that. I mean, as you saw, it was a folder and I was looking inside of it.
Okay, now go to the setup menu up top somewhere.
Setup menu.
Yeah, go to hosts, and the first host.
New host.
and then type the IP address of the first Pi,
TARPN 1.
and then the call sign of, or the port number is 8011, and the call sign of the first node,
I think that's what it is.
and then the password is letter P.
Oh, okay. It's not the password I typed in during the setup?
No, that's for the user. That's for Pi. This is
Okay.
for this is accessing the node. So I can't. Hang on a sec. Let me embiggen this somehow.
Oh, yeah. It's a small thing on my screen, too.
Embiggen. Nope, won't embiggen. Okay, so all right. So now go to the Qt term menu and just say connect. Now somewhere in there's a connect. Oh, connect button. There's a connect pull down. Just do that. Yeah. Okay. What did it say?
I gotta. This is the latest version of macOS saying, would this app? Can you imagine being the tech support guy at the big company with the macOS install base the morning after? Like nothing works. Would you like to connect to this printer? Would you like to connect to this file share? Would you like to check your email? Would you like to go to a website?
Yep.
And everybody's calling. I don't know what to do with this message. So let's try that again. Connect. I might have the wrong call
I think
sign.
what does it say in red there?
It says disconnected.
Okay, so yeah, so connect doesn't work.
It does not work. And like I
Okay.
said, it might be because
The
I have the wrong
packet node may
password.
not be running.
Oh, we can check that too.
Okay, so let's leave it with one of these.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, let's try let's go find the status of your nodes first, because you have to have that running in order to be able to log into it.
okay.
So what status do you think it is? Do you think you made it run?
I think that I cycled the power out from underneath of the Raspberry Pis doing a different experiment the other day.
Okay, so go in and yeah, SSH over to one of them. Yeah,
And then I think you just run TARPN.
type
itself?
TARPN, and that gives you status. It is not running. The service is stopped. So now do TARPN space test, lowercase, and that will start the node in the foreground. You have
Okay.
one TNC, would have one neighbor, although yeah, okay. All right.
And the neighbor's not running.
Okay, yeah, you have to. So the neighbors. So do a cat of node.ini. And now scroll back down, and let's see what call sign you set for this guy.
This
Local
one should be
op is
KM9G, my call
and
sign.
the keep going down. I want to see what the call sign of the node is. KM. Okay, good. All right, so neighbor A, the only problem with that is that it has to have an SSID, and it's probably going to be -2 because that's what you did for your node call. So go and you want to do this the easy way, or do you want to use the a text editor?
Well, tell me about this easy way.
If you do
I wouldn't have a problem with the text editor.
If you do TARPN space config, it'll prompt you for everything.
Okay.
It's slow though compared to a text editor.
Let's do the TARPN config one more time.
Okay, just hit
Local
character
op call
turn
sign.
until you get the node call. That's what. There you go. Oh no, keep going. You want to get neighbor A. is what
Neighbor
I'm looking
A.
for.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
There's my password. Don't dox me, man.
Yeah, we actually do something much more trivial than that in our network. So you might want to put lat/lon for giggles because it shows up in maps on GAPPQ runs. But anyway, yep, keep going. There's 8 of those. And then, yep, keep going. One more.
Okay,
There,
so this
neighbor
is the
A.
neighbor.
So yeah, you want to put that with a -2. Okay, and then you just character turn. Oh, do character turn one. Let's see what it says. 9,000. Okay, so character turn out because you don't need anything more. Everything else is not set. So hit return.
Okay, so I need to do this on the other node. While I'm doing that, can you explain what Frack is for people at home?
So there's a when the sends a packet out, it has the opportunity of retrying if the packet doesn't get acknowledged, and if it just sent the packet out and immediately said, well, I haven't heard anything back, I better send it again. The problem is that you will collide with the other end answering. So you want to set a delay of some period of time that describes how long it could possibly take at worst case for the other end to answer correctly. And so there's a number, and the default is 9,000, which is 9 seconds. It's certainly going to take less time than that. And it depends on the baud rate of the transmission. So if you said 192 times blah, 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 it comes out to about 2,000 if you're running 9,600 baud, and about 9,000 if you're running something less than 1,200 baud. What happened here? So that's what Frack is. Frame acknowledge timeout is what it means.
Frame acknowledged. Okay, there we go.
Yes. I said that, but I had my mic muted. I was talking to myself. I'm like, come on, boys. I said frame acknowledgement. Acknowledge me. Frame acknowledge.
So yeah, so there's a default number in there that's 9,000, and that's a safe number. If you make the Frack too small, you're going to get retries because your end is going to try sending a packet before the other end could possibly have acknowledged it. All right, what happened?
So my second node, I had actually unplugged and never plugged it back in.
Yes. By the way, if you unplug, if you're running on an SD card, which is the cheap way to do it, if you unplug the node or even allow the power to drop below 5 volts, it can corrupt the card. Any open files will get turned to trash, that kind of thing. And so it's not a very good thing for mean time between failure. Okay, so you want to remove, go RM space dot. Oh, what is that? That's interesting.
It's actually telling me that it doesn't like my public key, which is not correct.
I just do an rm.ssh/known.
Amen.
It's not a known host issue. It's a user ID, password, private key, public key issue.
Oh, you're doing that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Hard to maintain.
Oh, that's why. Hold on. I know why. I'm trying to SSH from one Pi to the other. Ta-da. There it is. All right. And so we need to do TARPN config over here and set the neighbor A. And I assumed that the neighbor A would have been the other node. So this is the K-Toads node.
But a -2 at the other end.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're using for your... There's 8 of them, yeah.
And this is neighbor A, which is going to be KM9G-2. And I didn't read this line right here. Something like call sign -2. I just...
There's a problem with if you put an instruction that solves every problem for every user, eventually they get too big looking and nobody looks at them anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix that. All right, okay, now try TARPN space test on either. This node's fine. See what it says. It should complain if something's wrong. It looks like you have a TNC and you have a neighbor, so that's happy. And you know this is good when it gets down to TNC emulator and it commit complete, and it doesn't complain after that.
Okay.
So how often could it complain? Usually it's in the first several seconds. Sometimes it's so fast it reads off the top of the screen. But in this case, it's perfect. So now you can do a Control-C, which kills the node, and then we're going to set it to operate in the background.
Okay.
And this is a spooky magic part. Okay, now we're going to type. That's the TARPN Mon thing. It's a new product that one of the fellows in Atlanta created, which is really cool, but I don't have a background starter, so it screws up. So now do TARPN space service space start. And then hit return. Yep. Do not start as a service until you have tested it with TARPN test, and you have tested it.
Which we did, and it was successful.
And the reason why you don't want to do it
system control or what? Like so is this using system control, or is it just all a manual starting process for it to go in the background?
You just start system D and it creates a service. And there's like 6 different services that we're using.
Gotcha.
TARPN Mon needs another one, and I haven't gone through the whatever. So that's kind of buggy. Now, if you type TARPN return, it should tell you that the service is set for background or something like it. BPQ node background service is auto. BPQ node is running. Okay, now TARPN home is not running and it's not enabled. So let's enable that. Type TARPN space home space start. Okay. Now, go back to your QT term. Did you set up QT term for this station or only for the other one?
Only for the other one, but let me
Okay,
add
let's run the other one
real
then.
quick.
Or I guess you could do that too.
Ted,
No,
why
this
don't you want to
just
start
was-
it without doing the test, just to save yourself time down the
Well,
road?
first let's go through this. Set the port to 8011.
Okay.
8011. And then the everything else looks right. Is your user uppercase like that? Your call sign? I guess it doesn't matter. All right, let's
don't
try.
remember.
Let's try hitting return. Let's see if it works. Or go to the connect and do connect. See what that does. Did it say
It says
disconnected?
Ktodes : I have a prompt. It's
Okay,
tiny.
the prompt is in lowercase though, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so go back to do disconnect right above you, and then go setup and hosts and change it so it's lowercase. And you might want to change the other one too. And then say save. And now go connect to the left.
I know. I want to see if I can increase the font size or something.
Oh yeah,
Terminal font,
you can.
because it's even hard for me to see, and I'm sitting right here with it.
It's smallish. Yes.
Hey, there we go.
Oh,
Now we
look
can
at
see it.
that.
That's going to be interesting. Yeah, second one. And you see, it should connect directly. She shouldn't prompt you. Okay, now you can type I return, for example, as one of the commands you can do, and it will tell you what you've said for your info. Now, what you want to do is click into the little typing area at the bottom. It's kind of a
way down
lightly
there.
shaded. You're right there. Type I return.
There
Okay,
we go.
so that the colors are all weird, and I don't know why that is.
Got 'em
It's
in
not the
dark
same
mode on
color
macOS.
that I get on my Mac. I wonder why.
Yeah, it's because I have my OS set to dark mode, probably.
Aha. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So now what we really would like to be able to see is like 2 or 4 of these screens on the shared display at the same time. But let's go with getting the other guy started up first before we get carried away. Oh, one thing to do before you go up to the monitor pull down, and you
Okay.
want to set enable nodes broadcasts, or monitor nodes broadcasts, I should say. And that's
Okay.
fine. Now close this with the red dot.
Close the terminal window.
Yep, close it. Yep.
Okay.
And then you can
Gone.
open it again. Now, the reason why you did that is because that forces it to save the configuration. And
Okay.
hopefully now what you should be able to do is, okay, that's fine. Connected. Okay, good. And then go to the monitor again. Make sure it still has that monitor nodes broadcast set. Yeah. Okay,
It
good.
does.
Perfect. Okay, now let's go work on the other node and get it started.
TARPN
TARPN
config.
test.
We already did that, so we need
Yes,
to
you
do
did.
TARPN test.
Yep.
Neighbor A, Ktodes 2.
Now, why do...
Okay, the reason why you want to do
Yeah.
test is because if anything does go wrong after you've run it in the background, it's invisible to you.
Okay.
If it goes wrong in the
sense.
foreground, then you can see it, and then we can take action to try to fix it. So one of the things that goes wrong that actually is not uncommon at all is someone puts a semi or a colon in the middle of one of their info texts, and since the what's it called, the key pair value, whatever, the way that the node.ini file works is that it expects a colon to separate the key with the value.
Right.
And so if you put semicolon or colon somewhere else, it'll mess it up. There's other things that like
Preventive maintenance before you start messing around. Yeah, that
yeah.
makes
So
sense.
this just basically tests a bunch of stuff. So the TARPN mon thing, I got to get rid of or fix it, and I haven't gotten to it yet. It was something that one of the members of the TARPN org produced, and it's really gorgeous. It's a web page based display of the monitored traffic across the node. And I'll show you that the QT term also does that, but his is much prettier looking. Okay, so TARPN service start. Yep, that's where you want to be.
I wanted to make sure that was the right way to type it. Yeah.
Yep. Now, the reason why it's giving the countdown is because in this case, it wants to see if you really meant to do that without running TARPN test first. And then the next thing it's going to do is it's counting some number of seconds before it checks, because if it checked continuously, it'll slow down the Pi and get in the way. So it's only checking every 5 seconds now. And when the task is running, and how long it takes depends on how fast your Pi is. So every 5 seconds it looks. All right, so now do TARPN home start. Yeah, that's what you did before. Okay, good. Now let's go and go into your Qt term and click on
the new one or the same one.
We can start a second one for the other node. Now we're doing things, looking at things that we're being impatient, because some of the stuff will be done automatically. You really don't need Qt term to start this up.
Really? Not for you. That was for my computer.
Okay, so now go to the connect and pull down the second or the first, whatever the other node, when you just started.
Yeah. I'm making the screen all pretty.
Okay.
I don't have a tiling window manager.
All right.
Okay, and it connected.
Now let's do a command R space R. Let's see what things are doing here.
Command space R?
Yeah, just type R space R. And what that's going to do is ask for routes with a little extra information. So it doesn't have any. Let's try this. Do a C space 1 space. What's the other node name?
Ktodes -2
or actually,
or TARPN 2.
Do an exclamation point and then the call sign. And what we're going to tell this thing to do is I want to connect out on its port 1-2. Whoops. See, it's you're monitoring it, sending out the command, but you want hit the up arrow. And now do -2.
-2.
Yeah, with no space, please.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay, so it's the call sign and the SSID.
Yeah. And now we're going to send out a message. Now the other end's not answering, and I don't know why. All right. So let's actually back out a little bit. You can turn this window off, and let's get to camera views of the product of the two nodes. I want to do some testing on the hardware.
Okay. Camera view of the two nodes. Let me think on how to set that up, because I wasn't planning on that.
Okay, we can just go through it, and you can describe what's happening, and that'll work also. So there's on each TNC there's a red button, right?
I'm changing my microphone so you guys can follow me.
Okay.
I'm on a different microphone now, and I should sound completely different. Okay, so I'm looking at and by the way, we never did turn the radios on. If that matters, and the radios aren't configured. And I can't hear Tad.
Tad, we've lost your audio.
I'm sorry. We're going to go down to the radio side and try to get that working.
Okay.
So the TNC, little view of it here for people who aren't familiar with it. There's a red button on the one end, right here.
Yep.
If you push the button while you're holding it, it'll cause the transmit light to come on, which is this button. The transmit light's the one over by the potentiometers here. And when you let it go, it'll send a packet. Now, what that does is it causes the radio to transmit. But more than that, it causes a packet to go out over the air, which shows up at the other TNC, the one on the other end of your link. And that will that'll light its yellow light to say I'm hearing something, and the green light to say I got a good packet. And that's what you're looking for. And if that doesn't happen in both directions, then the nodes aren't going to talk anyway. Make sense?
Yes. And I may have a camera.
Man, I wish that was white text on those screens.
Yeah, you might have to go and configure something.
I think I found a way to get the camera working. I just need to get it configured.
The people are saying Pixar, it doesn't happen, son.
Yeah,
I'm working on it. This is nuggets. You know how we do.
Yep. So you got your software up and running, at least some of it. We have a couple more things to do.
Izzo wished he'd had this class in 91 with his AX25 TNC.
Yikes. Yeah.
All right, Jim,
Actually,
you're gonna have to really pay attention to like switching cameras around and screens around and everything.
Hey, don't screw up.
So do
Oh,
that.
very nice.
And then if you take that one and put it in position number 1 like that, and then
And
you
put
do
some-
that, now you can see the 3 of us and the TNCs.
Okay, so if you push the button on the left-hand TNC, do the lights go on, or is everything off? Oh, there it goes. Okay,
Beautiful.
So that's the left
so
one.
if everything was working, you'd see the yellow and green light on the other TNC. So I know the radios are off. So push the button on the right-hand one so we can see that one light up. And it does. Okay, good. Now radios. So they need to be on the same frequency, and they need to be hooked up to the TNCs.
And they need to be turned on.
There's that.
All right, 144 390 is probably not a good one to do.
No, people use that a lot. 4.1's probably good.
Let's do 4.1 there. Let's do 4.1 here. Or 1.0.
Ron, do you remember NEDA? It was a packet radio networking club.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I can't watch the stream. All right, and you are set up for the left-hand VFO to transmit. I guess you'll find out when you hit the red button. So push the red button on the right-hand TNC, and let's see if it goes into transmit. And it does.
Oh, wow.
Woot.
That actually sounded like a phaser or something.
So what did the other TNC do? I was too busy staring at your S meter.
Let's see.
I didn't
The
see
radio heard it, but the other TNC did nothing.
Okay, so are the switches on the mode set properly? There's a 4-bit mode switch on each TNC.
Let's take a look at that. It is upside down. They are both set to down, up, up, down.
Okay, so that's 1200 standard, whatever, X25. All right, so that should have worked. So
they are wired at 9600, I believe. I don't remember if I
it
remember
doesn't matter. The TNC's got all sorts of AGC and stuff. It'll deal with it. But the radios have to be. Have you tested both radios with packet?
I haven't, but somebody has.
I mean,
not these radios.
Hooked up to these TNCs, blah blah blah. No, okay.
Nope.
So let's mess around with the transmit audio. What is the? Let's go with the first. Let's play with the pots. What I want you to do is stick a screwdriver into the right-hand pot on either one of the TNCs or the other, and set the pot to right about in the middle position. I realize you can't see the right-hand one because it's embedded in the case.
So we'll do the left-hand one, right?
You could do that. Little Phillips head. Good. Stick it in the right-hand pot, and you want to put it center it so you can turn it to the right, turn it to the left, and find the middle. Doesn't have to be really specific.
I think they were already centered from the last. Well, like we never moved them, so it's centered, pointing down.
Okay, good. Now the other one's going to be the same.
Yeah, all four pots are exactly the same, center pointed down.
Okay, so now do you have a radio that could monitor the channel with audio and spit it out on a speaker?
If only he had an HT.
HT would work.
Like a red one.
Okay, so 144.41.
Get it turned on. Switch to VFO mode, 144.410. All right, hang on one second. There actually is like active APRS signals nearby, and this radio will break in with APRS. So I need to turn that off real quick.
K5YVY. Hardware TNCs are competitive with the software TNCs. The Direwolf and the NinoTNC are really close in performance. The real advantage of the hardware TNC is that it has the displays, it has the controls. It's really obvious. Direwolf is superior in some ways, and the NinoTNC is superior in others. Where the NinoTNC really blows away Direwolf is when you want to have 5 radios connected to the same computer. Direwolf gets really difficult to manage under those conditions. And the TNC scale, you have 1 TNC per radio, so it really doesn't get any more difficult. At least not in terms of the TNCs. You still have RF interference.
I'm glad he asked that question because I've been using Direwolf for my digipeater, and I think that's a great project is to migrate my digipeater iGate to to a Nino instead.
It's fun to play with. I mean, it's the thing. The NinoTNC has lights that tell you you're getting good packets, and it has a button on the front that causes it to transmit. And you could add those features to Direwolf, but I don't know of anybody that has. Okay, so what I want you to do is push the test button on one of the two radios, and what do you hear coming out the walkie? Because I can't hear anything over the YouTube. Okay, so what
I heard something,
so
not as much as was transmitted.
Here's the deal: the adjust the squelch or the volume. Can you open the squelch with the push of a button? Is it easy?
On which radio?
On the handheld.
Oh, look at that. Not with the push of a button, but I can open it up.
Okay. What I want you to do is set the volume so that it doesn't overwhelm your microphone system, so that we can listen to it. And squelch open is a really easy test to play with. And then close.
Okay, so there's the squelch open.
I can't hear it at all. Okay, so you got to put it someplace where we can hear it over the net.
Let me check something, because StreamYard has background noise turned off now. Can you hear it now?
Oh,
now
yeah.
I can. Yeah, I think it's filtering it out.
StreamYard was filtering it out. I turned off the filtering. Go ahead, Jim.
Brad, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. And when you boys are ready, Doc Brad has a question for Ted.
QPSK. I don't know about QFSK. So if you go to ninotnc.info, ninotnc.info, or .com or .org, they'll go to the same place. There is a operator's manual, and the maybe 2 or 3 pages down, it's got a really colorful chart that lists all of the modes that the TNC does. And I don't know about M17 packet. I don't know anything about it. Okay.
Right. Exactly, Joe.
Yes.
Right.
Let's see you put 5 ports on your node with a software TNC. Anyway, this is anyway, whatever. All right, so we'll get this to work. Okay, so what we want to do is while you're holding the test button, we're going to adjust the transmit to find the peak of your now. So there's a rub here where and someone will out there that's more technical than me is going to point it out. Is we're going to adjust the transmit level based on what your receiver hears, but we're not using the receiver the other station's going to use. But what I'm really interested in is what's the proper transmit deviation adjustment for that radio, and it's hard to do in any way. The best way to do it is to adjust it until the other end hears things best, or the most direct way. But let's get it close with the HT. So what I want you to do is push the test button and turn the TX dev pot, which is the one closest to the LEDs, turn it up and down, and find the spot where turning it up doesn't make it go any higher, but turning it down does make it go down. See, I can't hear it beeping at all.
It's not beeping. It's just open squelch static.
Yeah, I just hear static.
That's as low as it goes.
All right, something's not working. Are you on the right frequency on both radios?
I'm on 144, 410 on all 3 radios.
All right, push the button on the other guy. Okay, that's what I wanted to hear from the first one. But let's adjust the level so you can find the sweet spot.
I can't even get into the pot.
I didn't hear you transmitting while you were doing that, so I don't know.
I was looking for the pot itself.
Oh, you couldn't find it with a screwdriver.
Couldn't find it through the hole, yeah. There it is. Okay, now I can transmit.
Okay, turn it down so you can still hear it. You can just hear it go down a little bit.
Patrick, thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Patrick.
I'm going to start calling Patrick Hat-Trick. Hat-Trick. See what I did there, Patrick?
Yeah, go down all the way to the bottom. You're turning up just a little bit, and it already swamps things. Can you hear it? So the audio changes. It goes up, and then all of a sudden it changes. You want to put it just slightly below where the change starts. And go slowly. You can hear it.
It's all the way bottomed out.
Okay, push it.
Right there to get rid of the squeal.
No, we want it to squeal. Squealing is good.
Okay.
We want it to have a nice pure tone. So go down until it starts going down. Uh-oh, what happened?
There it is.
I think the system mute took it out. I mean the audio processing on the YouTube and all that took it out. Okay, so
I heard it though.
what is it doing?
Yellow
Okay.
light?
I know what it's doing. It's got automation running. Just hit the test button once and let it go. It'll stop that. Okay, good. Now the other end has to hear it. Why is the other end not working properly? If you hit the test button, you don't get a carrier. You don't get a tone at all. Now, what are the signal switches set to on the two TNCs? Start with the one that's not sending a tone when we push it. The left one.
They are all set the same. They're down, up, up, down.
And you're plugged into the mic connector or the data connector?
The data connector on the back of both radios.
Okay, so let's go and look at the instruction manual because that's not right. I know that. I don't know what right is though. Hang on. And the operator's manual for the NinoTNC A4 specific instructions. So you want the first switch is data versus mic. Down is mic, up is data. So switch that.
On which one of the two sets of switches? The signal switches,
The
you
signal
said?
switches, yeah. You
Okay.
want it to be 1 something 0. So let's go with 1100 as your setting. And we'll see how that works. And if it doesn't sound right, then we'll switch so the third switch is DC versus AC coupling. And usually AC coupling is what you want. But some of the data radios insist that you have to be DC coupled. And you'll know that because you won't put any audio if it's switched the wrong way. All right.
Okay, 1100 on both TNCs.
Okay, so go back to the audio test on the right-hand one. Let's see what that does. Is it still sound about the same?
Yes.
It shouldn't. So let's go through the adjustment thing again and push and hold the button and turn the knob. Let's see what it does.
Don, thank you for gifting 5 memberships.
Yeah, you want it way down at the bottom. It's pretty close to okay, a little bit lower than that, I think, because you can hear it distorting as in the go down, make it pure tone. Perfect. Whoop, right up there. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's pretty low. All right, but let's see if we can get the other one to receive and transmit, because right now it's not doing that. So go push the button on the left-hand one. Let's see if the switch setting fixed it. Absolutely no noise, right?
Correct.
All right.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's no noise, and turning the pot does change what's going on, but it's not whistling like the other one did.
All right, I wonder what that is. What are well, here, let's try this. Well, the cables are different to the backs of the radios, right?
No, these are both Yaesus. They're both running the 6 pins.
Okay, well, you might want to just swap the two radios. In other words, move the cable from the left TNC onto the right radio and see if the TNC is driving the radio properly.
If it acts the same, yeah.
Yeah. Troubleshooting 101, isolation.
Swapping out the parts.
Scott asks a good question, Tad. Is the volume of the radio required for this to work? And it shouldn't be, correct?
For transmit, it can't make any difference. On receive, it could, depending on where you wired to. If you're wired to the data port output, I've never seen a radio data port which was affected by the volume control.
Right.
It's possible, but I've never seen one. So the volume, so you can hook up a TNC to the mic and speaker jack. And in the 90s, that's pretty much how people did things. So that sounded okay.
Yep.
So it's not the TNC.
Okay, now let's cable in the other one in the other direction.
Yeah. So there might be a setting in the left-hand machine that is left-hand radio that is affecting how the data. Have you ever put that run on the air on the packet?
I don't remember.
Okay.
This is a Yaesu FT818.
All
Do you
right.
have a setup guide for that?
No. No, usually the radios we're using are cheap. I don't think that one qualifies.
No, it doesn't.
It has the Y word on it, Ted.
Well, so does the FTM 3100 and the FT 2180, and those are both excellent packet radios.
Are they? Are those fairly old?
Well, they both got discontinued about 6 months ago, unfortunately, because they were both fantastic radios. The one of them is an 80 watt, the other one's a 60 watt or 65 watt, 2-meter monoband or single body, no control head, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And they were $150 to $200, somewhere in that range.
I was trying to shove it in the linear port.
I have a 2850, I think it is, which is the 65 watt, a 65 watt 2-meter Yaesu.
Okay, yeah, monoband 2-meter FM radio is kind of what you're looking for. It's nice if they have a data port on the back, but in a lot of cases you can go and add it inside. I say I can't swear to that, but I've seen it done a few times, but I'm not so much a radio mod guy that I would, tell you how to do it. I've written up instructions for doing it, but that's only after someone else went and showed me the process.
Figured it out, right? Hell, the instructions are the hard part.
Well, it's something I'm pretty fair at once someone shows me how to do things.
Every time I go in to hit the deep F menu on this radio, I bump the VFO and change frequencies.
There should be a lock button on there too, buddy.
Yeah, there should be.
I don't know where it is on that radio, but
it also may affect your ability to get into the menus.
Yeah.
I'm looking inside the deep F menu for any relevant settings. And unfortunately, this is all like my hand is in the way of the camera.
Dude, even if your hand isn't there, we can't read that menu.
Yeah, I know. It's a very weird color. I can change contrast. That's the wrong way. There we go. Right there. I can read it better. I mean, you probably can't even see it still.
Nope.
People use interesting radios on packet. This one would definitely be something you'd use short term, I think.
Yeah. I would put my 2600 on, my Yaesu 2600M, which is a 2-meter only radio with a packet port on the back. But we made 6-pin mini DIN connectors and not RS-232 DB9 connectors. Digital mic is set to 65. Let's turn that up. I'm not getting any drive through the radio. Digital mode is RIDI, PSK31, user L, user U. But, okay, hold on one second. I'm in digital mode, and I probably need to be in packet mode. Let's try that. There we go. Now I've got some power out, but I have no... Okay, I think they just talk to each other. But I'm also on the wrong frequency all of a sudden.
Yeah, the volume adjustment suitable for one radio may not be suitable for the other. So don't totally discouraged if you don't decode packets, but so long as you get the beep through, that's what we're looking for. I want to hear that beep.
Why is my frequency locked now all of a sudden? Damn it. I can't move my VFO. There we go. Okay, now we're on the right frequency. Transmit error, 144.410. It won't let me transmit.
What's your split set to?
Oh, there is a split. Crap. Now I gotta figure out how to turn split off. Okay, splits off. Okay, that's weird. When I hit the test button on the TNC that's attached to the 818, it goes into transmit mode. It changes over to digital and changes to 6 meters. Okay, that's a different split.
I mean, it looks like it.
Oh, so you're saying you're changing like VFOs. You're going to a wholly different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was the split button that I pushed, but that was not the
not the repeater split. You're doing VFO splits.
yeah, so I gotta
Yeah.
find the repeater split. There it is. Repeater. Okay, now I think I've got it. Yes.
Yes, I see the light show, but still no audio.
Still no audio.
So what's your pot set to at this point?
The
Maybe want
left
to like
pot?
center it. Yeah.
There it is.
Okay, so you might want to change your back to the TN. Oh, look, you got a green light.
I did. Yep.
That's what I saw.
Ta-da! We're talking.
Yay.
Okay.
All right.
We've got a heartbeat.
So now you want to
this,
physically swap the the TNCs across, or
no, they work. They're fine.
Well, yeah, but we want to make it so that you can tell what's going on.
Okay. So did we talk about Don gifting his 5 memberships? That's been on the screen for a while.
We did.
All right.
I
we'll take that off.
thank Don. I did not read off everybody who got a membership, but we thanked.
Okay, so I'm going to switch these TNCs back.
So what the effect that was wrong was that it wasn't set for packet; it was set for some other digital mode.
Yes.
Okay.
It was set for like FT8 style digital modes, not 2 meter style digital modes, which are packet in FT8
Cam says
vernacular.
we've crawled our way into the 1980s.
Yeah.
Actually, all the software that we're using for the switch to route traffic in a TARPN node is written by John Wiseman, GAPPQ, and his code was out there in the late 80s, running on DeskView.
Oh my Lord!
Awesome.
I remember that.
Yeah, so you would run LinBPQ in one of the desk views, and then you'd run Baypack TNCs plugged into the printer port for your yay.
All right, so I switched them back. Okay, so this one here, this TNC is connected up to this radio, and I get a green light over here on this one.
Right.
This one is, where'd my screwdriver go? Connected up, and I do that. The other radio hears it, but doesn't do any decoding, so let's do... right there. Green light. All right, so from left to right, green light. From right to left,
Okay.
green light.
Beautiful,
Awesome.
man.
That's fabulous. All right, so now what we want to do is go back to the software, and we've got test commands we can run that beat this thing up. So if you go to so go to the right hand or bottom QT term, and just click in the space at the bottom and hit return, carriage return. Yeah, I can't. Okay, did it say connected? I can't see.
It says connected.
Okay, so now type LINKTEST.
All one word?
Yep, link test. And it'll ask you what port, and you only have one port, which is 1. So hit 1, return. And this is going to send 100 messages that are fairly long, and the other end is going to receive them.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog's back.
Now
again
the word
and again until...
the word test followed by a number should be coming across on the receiver.
Yeah.
And you want to see every one of them all the way up to 99.
Does it count these like pings? So it'll tell us it got 100 out of 100.
It pings, but they're loud. You can turn the volume down on your HT, I guess. That's what we're listening
I just turned that off. I'm trying to figure out which radio is making the noise.
It's the left one.
Oh, my Lord.
That volume's off.
Niels, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. No sounds.
And we're
Niels
still getting
gets
them
up
all
in the
right.
middle of the night to watch us, Steve.
Thanks, Niels.
What was Niels' call sign?
OZ3NO.
Okay. Yeah, there's actually I can't remember what the other Niels, there's a PD it may be PD8Q for all I remember, but he's also Niels, and he has and I have contacted each other before about packet radio.
So you can't see it, but we're on test 36.
Yeah. All right. So this is actually going perfectly. Every single one of them is coming through.
Yeah, hang on. Let's do this real quick. Watch the light show.
Are we changing things?
Not yet.
Oh boy. Oh
No.
boy.
No, I just made the camera full screen so you could see the light show going on. Look at that.
That's awesome, dude. Finally.
So one thing you might try to do is change the switches on both TNCs, the mode switch to 0100. So turn off the third switch.
While it's in the middle of transmitting?
Sure. Now, when you do it, the TNC is going to sweep just to tell you that it registered the change.
The third
TNC
switch should go
LED.
from off to on?
You want 0100 in the mode switch. That's the ones right next to the LEDs.
Okay. 0100.
Right. So it should take one switch to be
Switched. And switched. And I hit the test button by accident.
So it's not decoding anymore, right? The green light's
Yeah.
not coming on.
Was eaten by an extraterrestrial rodent.
And then it stopped.
Test
all right.
77.
Yeah, so that was 0100, which is 4800 baud. So let's try something else. Try a 1011 on both of them.
So if I hit the test button in the middle of doing that, would that
Yeah.
have caused a problem? Because I
Nope.
did that.
Nope, it would not. So
Okay,
change. Well, actually, put it back to 0110. Let's see if it comes back. It should. I just wanted to see if you could go faster without changing the volume settings. You might have to be.
And don't be like me and use a metal screwdriver to do this. All right, we're 0110.
And we're back to receiving.
David, thank
Yes,
you.
and we're back to receiving. Yep. Oh, cool. So you can do that in the middle. Nice.
Yeah. So the reason why it didn't work on 4800 could be two different things. One is the radio's bandwidth isn't good enough, and the audio bandwidth, and the other possibility is that the volume levels are just a little too on the edge, because you need a little bit finer focus on your audio performance to get it to work at the higher bit rates. But okay, so let's go to so. If you go to the receiving station right now and in his entry bar, type in M_1, that tells you what call signs it's heard on port 1. And you should see a list that includes the other node,
I
dash
do.
2, right?
Yes.
Okay, now let's do an R command. And you now see the other node has been heard and has been registered in the system. Okay, so go back to the lower terminal, and I want to see what it's seen. Do an M_1 on the lower one.
Ted, we have a question. So these
Now
are
they are
calibrated
calibrated.
to each other.
So
They should be close for other TNCs.
right now, the way they're set up, it's quite possible that a KPC3 or MFJ 1270 or a Direwolf would be able to copy it. It's not for certain though, because the receive gain control on the TNC or the Direwolf could be better or worse, different.
Gotcha.
So we certainly haven't optimized the system yet, and we definitely haven't looked at a third station hearing it. But the chances are pretty good that it would work. I just don't know. We'd have to try. Okay, so you're hearing the other station, KT0ADS-2 is being heard by both sides. So do an R command on the oh, excellent, Chip. Where do you live? Anywhere near any of the other networks? Good. Perfect. Okay, so now on the bottom one, what I want you to do, and this is like, okay, why are we doing this? What I want to do is I want to see that the network knows about the other station from the one station. So if you go, for example, the N command on the bottom guy, it will tell you.
Before we do that, the bottom one says KTOADS-2 202,
which says he knows about 2 stations from the other end of the link.
Okay, because the other one says 0.
Great. So do an N command on both of them. You'll see the difference. Now remember, this is dynamic, so things might have changed already. But you see there's information from the other node that's not showing on TO-2.
Okay.
All right. So what we want to do is make it so that it shows. So we're going to do a command which is send nodes, one word, SENDNODES, and do that on the bottom guy. Now he's going to give you an error message, which will say you have to do password to do that. So type password, return. Then do up arrow twice to get the send nodes command back and hit return. And now it'll say, okay, and it did it. Now the other end, you see a message just came in that says nodes and it's fairly complicated. That's actually sending the information that we need to make it so they both see each other. So now if you go to the command line on the bottom, on the top window and type in R, you'll see that on the top one. Yeah. You'll see that it now knows about a couple stations from the other end.
2.
And, and if you do N, it's going to show you all of them at once. All right,
Ted,
there you go.
on that audio level on the interface, is there a way to look at that, or is it just you got to ear it and figure it out?
Well, it depends on what kind of equipment you have. You actually, if you use a spectrum analyzer or a SDR, like a nano VNA,
right,
you can actually watch something that's called a Bezier curve and dip one of the signals that it shows, and that will adjust the audio correctly for the transmitter. It does not adjust the audio correctly for the receiver.
Right.
But basically, if you make a certain assumptions and then you test for them. The best way to do it, or the most complete way, I should say, in terms of system performance, is to adjust it so the other end hears all of the link test packets. And that's what we have right now. It's adequate. It's possible it could be better, but we have to have a way to measure it to be better. Now, we received all the link test packets at 1200 baud. When we changed it to 4800, it didn't hear anything. So there's certainly things we can do to tone it in a little better. But anyway, let's not worry about that for the second. Why is it disconnected and why is it having trouble connecting?
It's a good question.
Yeah, do TARPN return, I guess. Whoops.
Chip Gwynn gifted a membership as well. Chip, thank you. Appreciate it.
It is not running.
Why is it not
I put
running?
this on the screen earlier, but I wanted to point this out to you. We have Denmark, we have Spain, we have Australia, we have Canada, we have Great Britain.
Worldwide.
A lot of
Worldwide.
interest. Awesome.
And Joe
Thank
Brett
you,
wanted
guys.
us to point out that we also have Mississippi here too.
We do. And I saw that you put up Jody's question about the APRS test file. Jody, this is packet. This is not APRS. We're actually hooking. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's more that APRS is packet, not that packet is APRS.
What we're doing is packet. What APRS is packet, but what we're doing is not APRS.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Why did you already are told to start? It says it's in auto.
Okay.
Now do TARPN again and see if it started up by itself, and it did. Okay, so the question is, why did it bail? And the question is, how interested are you? Because there are log files that we can look at that'll show you at least what it complained about, if not what it bailed, why it bailed. So do you want to look at that for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, go to cd /var/log, and then do an ls TARPN star. Okay, so that's a list of log files that we have here. Test files to calibrate the audio for properly. This is true. That is, if you have a test file for the rate that you're trying to receive, you can play the test file into a high fidelity transmitter and receive it, or just play it right into the TNC. But right now we're kind of working through the radios, not just the TNCs. So we're trying to we need a test transmitter with the test data, and that's usually beyond the scope of a ham setup, and we don't have that here. So we're trying to use one uncalibrated station to tune up another uncalibrated station. Not the best of both worlds. Hang on a second. Sorry, that was a net call that's starting in the area here, but I'm not going to be on it. Okay, so the TARPN start stop log, if you do a tail of that, just type tail space TARPN dash or TARPN underscore ST tab, and then hit return. and that said that at 2412 it exited, and 2458 it started. That doesn't sound. It's 20. Yeah, that could have been it. It dumped out of the script. Well, we don't know why yet, but we know that it happened at 0414, 2412. This is not consistent.
So I ran the time command at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. So
just so you know what the current time is according to
3 minutes ago. So at 2412 it dumped. And now we could go look through the daemon log and find out if something spewed to say that it dumped at 2412. So if you do, for example, TARPN space daemon 2412, that's what we're looking for. All right. Now, can you roll back to see 2412?
That's what I'm trying, yeah.
You might have to go a long ways.
This thing is chatty.
It is. Sorry about that.
2410 right there.
No process found. No process found. That's okay. TARPN background sleep for 30 seconds before restarting LinBPQ. So you want to go above that. Okay, right here. See BPQ, LinBPQ has stopped running. And there's an abort. Why? As LinBPQ aborted. A corrupted size versus previous size.
So it got a bad packet. Probably when we were flipping switches.
That wouldn't
When you're
do
flipping
it.
switches.
That would not do it. It's not. This is a bug in something.
Uh-oh.
Well, if it's a bug in LinBPQ, that's probably too far for us to.
It is. Yeah. A write error, invalid argument. That might be my bug, but I don't think that one killed the product.
Well, I think we just lost the other server too.
Huh. That's interesting. I wonder why.
Not running. Yep, we just lost the other server too.
Do me a favor and type TARPN update. TARPN space update. And then you go do that on the other one as well. Can you do that?
Okay. Yeah.
It takes about a minute on each one.
Cam is asking, is the transmit, let me pop that up there. Is the transmit modem sitting on top of the metal case, or does the enclosure keep the PCB from touching?
The enclosure keeps the PCB from touching.
Yeah, there's a 3D printed case.
Yes.
Custom printed, just saying.
Can you see it? Yeah, you can kind of see the little U shape underneath of the...
Inside the well, yeah.
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 So there's a top for each of those, but it obscures the pots. That's why it's removed.
Well, that's one of the reasons why it's removed. The other one is I put the LEDs in at the wrong angle. So if I put the case on the left one, it holds the test button in 100% of the time.
Oh, bummer.
So I have to fix that. But that wasn't a showstopper for tonight.
Okay. So the reason why I asked to do an update is there's some potential that when you turned off the power on the Raspberry Pi unceremoniously, that it corrupted something. And this refreshes all of my stuff. It does not refresh Linux. It does not refresh GAPPQ's LinBPQ program.
So you guys have this on a GitHub somewhere, Ted?
Some of it is, some of it is not. That's GitHub's not my thing. But actually all of the stuff that you're running is on the TARPN server.
Okay.
And the install, if you want to look at this, there's an installer that when you download the W file and you run it, that calls immediately and downloads an installer, and you can go look through that and you can actually go and get all the files individually and screw around with them if you want. But I have not ever put anything on GitHub, but other people have, but I haven't been maintaining it, and I have been making changes. So there's nothing up to date. GAPPQ does exactly the same thing I do. There's like 5 copies of his program, LinBPQ program, on GitHub, but he's not maintaining any of them, and none of them keep up. All right. So we're been running again. So do an N return on each one of these guys to see if it has the full boat.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that's nice. Very pretty.
I just switched from dark mode to light mode.
Very good.
I'm hurting.
We can see.
They have not. Neither of them have sent a beacon.
Okay, so type password on each one of them. Just password return. and then
This is an awesome password.
and then type password. So if you did this remotely, if you connected to the other station and then type password, it's actually going to prompt you. And I can explain how to create a good password. What we do is really trivial. I mean, if you just put in a row of Q's, for example, the password prompt will ask you for the 15th letter and the 12th letter and the 30th letter and the first letter. And
Nice. And they're all Q.
Huh.
All right. So anyway, type send nodes on each one of these now.
All right. So send nodes.
One word. Send nodes,
Oh.
one word.
There's a little muscle memory in there for typing a different version of that.
Yeah.
Cam, that site is working. I just clicked it.
So your upper window is not bottomed out, the scroll bar. Yeah, so the send nodes will have occurred and it just went by. Okay, so now do an n return on either one of them. Okay.
I see them.
So now what you can do, for example, on Toad 2, where you are, type C space or TO2, type T space C space TO-1. And it will disconnect right across. It's supposed to.
It did something.
Oh, your node name might be illegal. Because
Okay.
it thinks TO is the name of the node and -1 is its SSID.
Okay.
And so do C space KM9G-2. Yeah.
Okay.
And it
it
should
has
connect right
connected.
across to the other. Now, for example, type I return. You're actually sending all your commands are going to the -1 or TO-1 node. This node is temporarily offline. So if you want to fix that, we go into the node.ini file and just type TO1 as one of the node names and TO2 is the other. The dash is what the problem is because it thinks that's actually means something in the BPQ language.
And that's node.ini?
Yes, you can just edit node.ini and then go down and find TO-1 and just make it TO1. There you go. And then can save that and go to the other one. I'm very fast at this.
I did this for a living for too many years.
Very good.
Oh, yeah. And late 90s, by the way, is almost 30 years ago.
I got it.
I know, doesn't it? That scares me.
I had my first computer that was actually mine had a 6-digit LED display as its only output. And the programs were entered in raw hexadecimal machine code. Okay, so now you want to do is back to your terminal. So are they still both open?
Yes.
Just do a TARPN space kill on each one of them. And go do it on the other one. You don't have to wait. Just go do it on the other one. Oh, that's right. You only had one. Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. And then they will do their thing and come back.
It's going to automatically come back. And you can see the Qt term disconnected over here.
Yeah. It won't
because we shut the service down behind it.
Yeah, it won't reconnect. But you can type TARPN and see when it comes up. Now, there's an accessory that we make, the TARPN group makes, that we call the TARPN control panel, and it has a light on it that shows you that the node is running. It's just kind of neat.
Okay,
there you go.
So
now it's
TARPN
running.
2 is running. And TARPN 1 is running.
Okay, so now go and let's do password and send nodes on each, and that'll bring you all back up again. It'll do it automatically. You don't have to actually do that. It's just that it'll take 20 minutes to do it. So this gooses it, as it were. Okay, now you can type C space TO2 from the bottom one, and it'll just go right across. Oh, what did we do wrong? Do N return. It doesn't know about it. Why not? All right, I know why. Now do the R command because the neighbor port authentication hasn't come by and blessed this yet. So there's a feature which runs there. There you go. Now it has. So now go to TO1 and do send node. See the difference?
Yeah.
So put the 200 figure, which says whatever you give me, I'm going to do math on it and convert it to 200 over 256, and it's called a quality value, and it has to do with how far the propagation happens. It's a time to live kind of a deal. There you go.
All right, we are connected.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And now the other one, I don't know if they'll be in both directions. But anyway, now what we need to do is get the chat to work. And to do that, you're going to go into a web browser and connect to each machine with a :7777 port number.
3 sevens, 7
4
7, and
sevens.
4 sevens. Can't be reached. That might be me.
It's not HTTPS, I can tell you that. But
Yeah. I guessed that one on my own.
Well, I think most browsers are defaulting you to HTTPS now because Jody
Yes.
shared that link with the test file site. And if you just type the web URL, it complains. And depending on your browser settings, it may not let you get there right away.
yeah,
Without, yeah, it's okay, really trust it.
Safari
kind of thing.
makes you go through hoops to do it.
Yeah,
but you can get
Chrome
it anyway.
Yeah, you could do it. Chrome is doing it
Edge
now.
will be very difficult for you.
Edge is, yeah.
Yeah, Midori is good too. Midori browser is a good browser on the Raspberry Pi.
Tio and I have migrated to Brave for a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, but so Midori is not from that compared to Brave and Chrome. It's nothing like that. But what it is
Wrong
fast.
generation, yeah.
Yeah, Midori is fast. Okay, so try it on that. See what it does.
And this is
Chad,
on
but
the
I'm
node
old,
itself.
so fast is irrelevant at this point in my life.
Say again.
I'm old. Fast is, whatever, close enough.
Well, yeah, Midori is you're running it on a Raspberry Pi, not on a 5 gigahertz Pentium. So fast, it makes a difference.
Right.
Do you want it before or after the next time you have to take a potty break?
Right.
Hey, it worked.
It did.
Yeah, patience. You can see it in the title bar. There we go.
So now go over to chat management. Chat management.
So this is kind of weird. So a little bit of a backstory on this. This is running on a Raspberry Pi 4. It's running the older version of Pi OS, and it's running the 32-bit version of the older version on the Pi 4. And there is a problem with Chromium browser over VNC where it is very slow. It's a Chromium issue.
Okay. So Midori is installed with the TARPN set, and you can put that on the toolbar if you want it. So type in KM9G lowercase.
Let's do Midori if it's going to be better.
No, that's fine.
You're already look at that. It launched already.
Yeah, it's got very little to it. It does not play movies or QuickTime or YouTube's.
And it went to the search engine instead of going to where I told it to.
Yeah. You're still not doing the right thing there. You shouldn't have to do the HTTP. Just
it's muscle memory at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Chat management. The call sign of the user in lowercase, which is KM9G, and then the password is P, and then submit, and then configuration. Okay. Now in uppercase, what you're going to want to type is Z, the letter Z.
Where?
Oh, see where it says nodes to log into?
Okay. Yeah.
Type the letter Z. Actually, probably doesn't have to be uppercase.
Steve, can you plus that up some?
Yeah. So this is all on the TARPN Builder webpage. If you go and look, yeah. So type Z, the last 3 characters of the call sign of the other guy, which is going to be ADS.
All one word, ZADS.
Yeah. 09.
You're typing it out of order on purpose?
Is ZADS 09 is 09. Okay, now colon KT0 ADS -9. All right.
Okay.
And then hit save, the save check button, and then restart links. All right. Now go to the other station. The other web page, I mean. Yeah. Chat movement.
And this is going to be K-Toads.
K-Toads. Yeah. No -2. And do it in lowercase, please. And then P. And then config. And now it's going to be ZM9G09 colon KM9G-9. And then save and restart. All right. Now go to the same, go to, what is it, TARPN 1 colon 8085.
Yeah, Jody.
The good thing is there's really good documentation on the website to tell you how to do this. But having it be automatic would be cool. Yeah, TARPN 1 colon 8085. I'm not sure exactly what happens when you do this on here. Okay. Now type in, hit the chatters checkbox on the right-hand side. Ooh. Okay, that did interesting things. Okay, so over on the to send field, type in the first name of the operator and hit return. All right, good. Now do /q offline.
The word /Q space offline or
Yeah.
/Q offline, all one word?
It doesn't matter. Hit return. All right. Now do a /u, and it will show you as, there you go. You were located in offline. Now
Okay, cool.
do a /p, and that tells you what's going on with your neighbors. So it says KT080S-9 is open, which means it's not connected to. Now let's go to the same
LC.
web page for the other station.
Okay.
And now what we're trying to do is get the chat to come up. Now there's a lot of things about this, but let's get it to work first. And then type in the name of that operator. Preferably not Steve. Like group or something. Toad will work. All right. And then /q temporary or something. All right. Now you can do /u. All right. Now go and click the chatters button again.
We should see 2 people.
Right.
Yes.
Now type in the to send field, say, oh my gosh, this is the most awesome thing ever. How much can I pay Tad to make him continue doing this? All right, that's fine. That's good enough.
Oh, I want to wait. I want to see all the lights go off.
All right. Hopefully it won't take too long to do it. And hit return.
Okay. Now let's do this.
And that's that.
Oh, look at that.
Now we do the dance.
Now go to the other screen and you should see the text head come in.
And this is actually too big because it ruined the.
So just click on the other tab.
Screen,
You have them in two
screen
separate
split.
browsers.
Yeah. I was doing some housekeeping.
Okay, so now,
Yes, so it did. It transferred.
now what I want you to do, where you typed in the to send, type in /c, which is color. Whoop, didn't do anything.
I know. There it is. /C.
/c, yeah.
That's it.
And return, yeah. And then type in /SHOWNAMES. One word. Okay, and then do a /u, which shows me who those people are. Yoink. It's still black and white. It lies. All right. Go to the other browser and do the same commands.
I don't know. Okay, tell me what they are again.
/c and /show names. and type hello radio. Should be bold, and it should say, oh, do /E. Forgot to echo on this one.
I don't remember echoing on
Now
the
type
last
in
one.
hello radio 2. Okay.
Okay.
Now go
Still
to the
black
other
and white.
guy and type in oh, you are blue or something. And you'll be black right there. But the when you switch, you'll see.
Yeah, so there's no echo on this one
do
either.
/E on that one. Yeah, I forgot the echo. And then go back. So there you go. Now,
Bluish. Yeah.
there are a lot of underpinning things which are cool as heck about this. One of them is that the way the chat servers run on each site, everybody has one. So when you type something, you're going right to the chat server, which is on the other side of the memory in your Raspberry Pi, and then it's answering back with echoes or whatever. And then it sends a copy of what transacted on the chat to each neighbor. And if you have 4 neighbors on 4 different frequencies, it'll send 4 copies of it all at once. The neighbor, on getting that, will post the chat onto the screen and send it to the remaining neighbors that it has. So right now, everybody only has 1 neighbor, so this is really trivial. But if you had 4 each, for example, and everybody had 4 each, and you had this monstrous meshy network spread across the state with 1,000 people on it, no link will ever see any chat message twice. Which means that, and also if you have 4 people typing a blue streak, you'll get those 4 people's chats showing up everywhere in the state. But the interesting thing is the number of people that are watching the chat does not change the performance of the links, because you only see 1 copy of each chat on each link. That's a very good question, Don. The way you avoid collisions is by only ever having 2 stations on the air at a time. That's not that. Okay, I said that wrong. You only have 2 stations on a given frequency in a given region at a time. So if you are, for example, putting one of your stations on top of a mountain that covers half the state, you've just tied up that frequency for the half the state. But if you're going house to house to house across a neighborhood with half-acre lots, you can reuse the same frequency 10 miles away or 5 miles away. So it is quite rational to imagine having 1,000 people in a state and might use only like 40 frequencies. There's a lot of frequencies, even on just 2 meters on the 440.
I mean, this is like prehistoric trunk radio is basically what you're describing.
It's actually a lot like internet relay chat, excepting everybody has their own server, which is also prehistoric.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things that trunk radio does that we're not, like automatically changing people's channels and stuff.
Assigning the frequencies. Yeah. But
yeah. So you're locking in a frequency. Now, the neat thing is there's only two stations on a given frequency. So there's nobody to collide with. And the switching between frequency A and frequency B is done at the stations. So you can go from 220 to 2 meters across someone else's station. It's completely automatic. So let's say you had 1,000 stations out there. When you type a message, you're going out on every frequency in the network simultaneously. Now, the system does allow for multiple chat channels. Practically speaking, it hasn't happened yet. The biggest network we've ever had 42 stations on it, and we still only used 1 channel. We usually only got 6 or 7 people online at a time because people are off doing things. But the chat window, the TARPN home chat window we were just looking at, has a scroll bar. And actually, let me share my screen. Can I do that?
Sure. Yep. Present button at the bottom.
Present not the whole screen. I guess it's going to do the whole screen.
You can do a window too.
You should have
tab,
choices.
How
or
do you
a Chrome
do a
tab.
window? How do you do a
You're going to go present, share screen, and then you'll see across the top tab, window, entire screen.
So far, I don't. I just see share screen as a big button.
Click it.
Okay.
Click share screen.
Then I can say window.
Yes.
All right. So what I want is one of the windows that isn't shown. To share your window, allow screen for Chrome. Oh, I have to change Chrome. Open system setting. Allow it to see it. Doink. Now is it going to make me reboot?
No.
No.
It should work.
May not be able to record. I don't want to record. Allow. It still says Chrome. All right, well, let's say I do everything in Chrome then. I don't have a problem with that.
I crashed.
What will that look like?
What's your operating system there, Ted?
I'm using a Mac OS.
Yeah. So it's trying to share out your screen, and you never gave it permission before you started the stream.
Right. Correct.
So sometimes you can kind of get past that if you just, ignore that it's telling you can't.
It may work without killing it and restarting. Sometimes Mac OS wants to restart the app. So
if I do entire screen, it's going to do the same thing, right?
Nah, maybe.
Yeah, so the Chrome would not access my packet node, and I don't know why. I type http://10.0.0.200:8085 return, and it says this site can't be reached. I know that's a lie. All right, so I have to reset and rejoin everything. All right, this isn't worth it.
Okay.
Let me see if I can't send you on Discord a image of what I'm talking about. How can I do that? No, the thing I want to show was the scroll bar. All right, we'll just generate enough traffic at your end to do that. But I wanted to show you. Okay, hang on. Getting to Steve's link here, and I will drag this across. I don't know what's on there, but that's scary. I just sent a chat screen knowing who was on it. Okay, can you see that?
I can.
I open that and show it to people.
Let me
Thank
do
you.
my job over here. And I think I did. Thought I did.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got it.
Okay.
Raspberry Pi keystrokes are slightly different than Mac OS keystrokes.
Yeah, command instead of control.
Yeah.
Now this is going to be way big.
Yeah.
All
There's
right.
a big chat.
That's what it looks like on our machine. Now, do you see the scroll bar on the right-hand side?
Yeah, over here where all the names are.
To the left of that, to the right-hand side of the chat window.
Okay.
Yeah.
The scroll bar. If you scrolled that back, it goes back about 5 days.
Nice.
Now, what that means then is that, let's say you only a few of your friends are online or nobody's online. So I should say online. They're always connected. If their node is up and running, and it should be, they'll always be accumulating these chat lines. And if you come in, you've been at work all day, and you come into your ham shack and you open up your TARPN home web page, you can scroll back and see what happened today or yesterday or late last week. And then you can reply to it. Depending on the conversation, it might be, Steve, when are you going to call me about such and so? And you're going to look at that and say, well, I'll answer immediately because it's obviously, timely. And then you could say, I'll call you in 5 minutes. Are you there? Or something like that. Anyway, so this kind of accumulates. It's kind of weird. It's not a lively chat where you have to be there because some people aren't. You can expect that. But you can just see from the contents here that, we're going at it, and you can see the different colors of the different people. And there's a mode where you can turn on a second time display, and it will show you your computer's clock of the computer you're running to run the web browser, and it'll also show you the Raspberry Pi's clock. And I have that turned on this display, and it's kind of confusing. But you can see there's a UTC time, which is the Raspberry Pi, and then there's AM and PM, which is my Macintosh. Now on the right-hand side, you can see the names of the participants. If there's a space next to it and no time figure, it means they've just typed in the last 10 minutes. Then below that is how many hours or days since these people typed. And you can see that it's been a while. Now, also, this display is not scrolled all the way down. The chat display is not scrolled all the way down. There's actually a couple more lines after that, because the last time Steven typed, he might not even be running at the time this log is done. Now, it doesn't look like he is. So anyway, the log, the how long since people typed isn't concurrent with the chat display. So it's a little confusing. I wish I could bring this up live. Anyway, whatever. You can see that some people like KW4KZ hasn't been on in 48 days. And, his system's still running. He's still logging. If you click on the button on the lower right, let's go back to your live display, and we'll play with this. We can generate some traffic. Yeah, and bring up your web browsers.
Yeah, I gotta find those again. There we go. And while you are talking, I was busy messing with something,
Yeah.
and the nodes are no longer connected to each other. You can see I only have one chatter,
Yeah.
and that was my fault.
Will they
I,
come back?
I tried to, I was hacking. I
Okay.
tried to make a pretty light show, and
So let's
have
go
this
back to
thing
let's
going
go back to-
crazy.
Let's go back to Qt term and let's see the status of this thing.
Okay, here's Qt term.
And hit return and do an R. Uh-oh.
It says it's connected.
Not
It
yet.
says it's connected.
It's disconnected, both of them.
There it is.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Okay, now do an R command.
R space R or just R?
Just R. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
He's got his own. Yeah. So let's do a password send node. So that'll put everything back. And you see the nodes broadcast show up on the other one's receiver. I don't think I understand what he just said. Can TO pipe the YouTube chat? Probably not easily.
It was kind of tongue in cheek, Ted.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, do an N return. See if you got everything going across. Okay, good. So now let's go back to the browsers and see if they figured it out. If the chat app has figured it out. Not yet. So do a /p and it'll give you the list of all the ports. It says it's open. We should say connected. Yeah, connected is the opposite of open. It hasn't figured that out yet, but it will. So let's go and explore the user interface here. Click on node on the top, the tab on the top there. So this gives you access to the commands that you would do on Qt term, but it does not have the monitoring facility. So you can do N here. And I'll tell you what nodes it knows about. And then you can do C space TO2 and go over to the other one. And you can do commands over there.
I shouldn't have to do a connect over here. It should be connected.
You are
right?
connected to TO2, yeah.
Okay.
So go back to the other one because they're both connected to TO1 right now, right? But it's over the packet network. I'm confused. This is TO1, and you click the node button, and it shows connected to TO2. Okay, good. Now do a TINFO command. And what TINFO does is it gives you a lot of information about the node you're looking at. Now this is coming across your link at 1200 bits per second. That's what you're seeing.
And you can see the lights going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Okay, so let's see what the display has come up with. Okay, so this is a lot of information for diagnosing a packet node. The TARPN update was run March 3rd at 7:31 p.m. TARPN was installed on March 1st. It gives you the version of the operating system, which is Bullseye. Tells you the hardware is a 4B, 4 gigabyte. It also gives you the configuration of the NinoTNC. It says it's on port 1, linked to KM9G-2. It's running version 3.42. It's an A4R1 board as far as it can tell. It doesn't matter. All the A4s show up as that because it doesn't have a board ID that's unique for the boards. It doesn't need it because the firmware behaves the same way on every one of the A4 series boards. I should probably change the output of this display. Switch setting is 0110, which means 1200 AFSKX25. Your TXD is set to 120. Now the TX delay is how long after it issues the PTT signal to the radio before it starts sending a packet. And that directly affects how slow or how much extra time you waste. Because if you set the TXD to a larger number than it needs to be, it's just hanging out there waiting to send when it doesn't need to. So that's something you could tune to improve the speed of this thing. One of the most critical things this thing shows you is the undervolt events. So if your regulator was set to too low of a value and once in a while the Raspberry Pi struggled, that would accumulate numbers, and it's not, which is great. But anyway, all sorts of interesting things we can do to play with this thing. There's another command, which is TRR, which gives you the retry rate in both directions, but it only works after the system's been up for a little bit. It'll tell you that it doesn't have enough data, I think.
Yeah, it said insufficient.
It will after about a half an hour, and then it will, depending on how many packets you get per 15-minute period, it will show you recent information about your performance. So if you have fade outs and it has recovered, you can kind of see what the current value instead of the old value. There's also the R command and the R space R command give you the R space R is like the full version of the R command, and it gives you information on the performance of the link. So that the number after the exclamation point, the first number is how many information frames it sent since the node started. And the next number is how many times it had to send an information frame an extra time. And if that number is large, that means that your link performance is not good, very good. The 0% is the one number divided by the other. So that it's just saying that this is really good. So one thing we haven't done is turned on the BBSs on these. Type BBS return. It should give you an error message saying it's not set up. Okay, so we can set that up, and then we can also because the BBS is actually preloaded with some large files, we can send them back and forth and see how this runs.
Okay.
Another thing we might want to do if we have time is try to figure out why we can't go to 4800 baud.
We're technically over time, but that's
we are
kind of irrelevant.
All right, well, let's go and turn the BBS on because that's pretty quick. So go to the 7777 webpage again.
Oh. Okay.
There you go. And click on Node menu.
I didn't remember where it was.
And then mail management. And then to log in lowercase KM9G and P. And now go to configuration. And type in, or scroll down. So we're going to set this up for real. Checkbox, don't hold messages from new users. Don't add WinLink org flag. Don't request name. Don't request home BBS. Now, the most important thing to set is you see up above, it says BBS APPL number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Change it to 3.
What is APPL?
It's the application number, and that's what GAPPQ uses to figure out what application you're talking to from this node.
Okay.
So go scrolling on down, and there should be a save button. There you go, save.
Right where it doesn't belong, in the middle.
Okay, now go to users. Now we're going to we're going to set. It didn't go. Okay, there you go. Set checkbox sysop and expert.
You have a lot of faith in me.
Expert is just a toggle to change the prompts. Scroll on down till you see name. Type in Steve, and then click update. Okay, now go see where it says add, and there's a space next to it.
How do I know the update took?
You don't. Go to the add button. And don't click the add button. Just go down there to that white field. I
scrolled.
Okay, go to the add button and hit in the white field to the right of it. Type in the other call sign KT0ADS and hit add. Okay, now go to the top. Now see it added it. Yep. Now you're on KToads. Now click on checkbox BBS. Go down to the name. No, don't do sysop because you don't need that turned on for everybody else. Type in what toad or whatever it is. Temporary, whatever. Okay. And then go click save on the bottom. Or update, excuse me. Click update.
So when I do this, there's like no indication that it did anything.
That's correct.
It might have done it so fast, but...
Well, you can go up and you can click on KM9G and see that it has sysop and expert still checked.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go and do you want to start up forwarding so you can send a message and have it forwarded across?
Sure.
Okay, so go to forwarding. Okay, so go to KT0ADS. And in the to field, type the other call sign, actually every other call sign on the network, which is KM9G.
Right.
And then in the at field, type in all. Okay, that's for bulletin forwarding. So if you send to all, it's going to go across this link. In the times field, type in 0000-2359, which is from 0 o'clock to 23:59 o'clock. You got to have 4 zeros, actually. Actually, I'm not certain you have to have 4 zeros, but I always have done it that way. Now in connect strip, type in MSGTYPES, message types, space, PBT 9999. That says personal bulletin and traffic for up to 10,000 bytes or 9999 bytes. Okay, go hit return. C space KT0ADS-1. Actually, no, -2, excuse me. That's it's the node you're going to, and then BBS at the bottom.
BBS here at the bottom or BBS in the white box below?
Right there. No, right where you typed it. BBS. Okay, now let's go down to lower in this display. I want you to scroll.
I tried.
Okay, enable forwarding, checkbox that. And type in 900 seconds. And then send new message. 900. Yeah, that's fine. Send new messages without waiting for poll timer. Okay, scroll down and then I think there's an update button. Yep, click on update.
Update. Poof.
Okay, now go to the up to the top. Okay, you're done here. Now we want to go to the other nodes bulletin or 7777 page. And we're going to do all that again.
Node menu, mail management.
Yep. Okay.
And this was
configuration. Set the BBS app to 3. Okay, go to don't hold messages, don't add WinLink, don't request name, don't request home BBS. Scroll down and click on save. And then go to forwarding, or users, excuse me, users first. And add KM9G by going, sysop expert. Yep, you had it right. Click on sysop and expert. And then go down and say name is whatever name is. And then click on update. And then type in KM9G and hit add. And then go to BBS, checkbox, go down to name, type Steve, and click update, and then go to forwarding, and type in KT0ADS in the to field. Am I doing this right? No, I got this wrong. Sorry.
It's the wrong call sign.
Yeah, KM9G, and then all, and then, you got it. It's going to be -2359. Did you get that?
Probably.
Yeah, dash. Okay, message types, PBT 9999. Carriage return, C space KM9G-2. Return BBS. Scroll down to the bottom. Type in enable forwarding, interval 900. And send new messages without waiting. Click on update. All right. Now, go to the 8085. Actually, we're going to have to restart the nodes. So go to a terminal window to each one.
Okay.
We actually can. Yeah. And then type TARPN space kill.
It started transmitting like crazy. Was it just saying, I'm done? Go away. Leave me alone?
It just hung up on the other one. Yeah. All right. Now, now the 8085 menu, if you go back, or to our web page, if you go back to that, it's going to dump you at this point because, yeah, to click on the rebooting app server. If you click on the BBS tab, it won't do anything because you have to refresh. Oh, it did. Now, I mean, hang on a sec. Hit the refresh browser button.
Oops, I hit the button on the page for
The
refresh.
refresh browser. Yeah, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, it's not up yet.
No.
Hey, my beef jerky's ready. Okay, I think that one's finally up. Yep.
Okay, now go to BBS.
Okay, that one's finally up. Okay.
Okay, type in click compose. Now, who is this you're talking to? You're talking to KT0. Okay, so do actually do all. Just type all. I think this should work. And go to subject and say, I got this working finally. Is anybody out here or something? And you can type a message. And then if you want to be really rude, you'll just put in woohoo and copy woohoo and paste it 100 times. Hit return, hit carriage return, and then do it again. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It will. It may take a while. So let's go to the QT terms, get them hooked up, and then hit carriage return to get them alive. Because we ought to see the message going across, except it might have already gone. Now, if you type BBS on either one of these things, it's going to go into the same program, but this is a more crude display. So hit return. Okay,
hello, boss.
Do it on the other one. Do BBS also. And do an LL space 2 or whatever. Huh, it doesn't have it.
Unread.
And go to the other one, do the same thing. It should show there's a message, unless we did it wrong.
Yeah, there it is.
And it's this is I made a mistake. It's sending this as a personal message to call sign all, which is wrong.
Oh, jeez, Tad.
Sorry.
Okay. Over here. Compose.
And type
this is
in
K-Toads.
You could do that, yeah. I do the KM9G. Try again. Okay, and then go to message and type in over and over, but hit carriage turns between them a couple times, and then do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and then send it. Yeah, there you go. That'll give us some time to see it on the and then no, that's not it. That's actually TNC telling diagnostic software how well the TNC is working. You can actually see on there that it's running version 3.42, and somewhere encoded in all those bits are what the switch settings are for the mode. Anyway, go to either one of those and type LL space 2 again. And the other one. So it has 2.
Yep.
It hasn't sent it out yet. Why? Did we make a mistake? It's possible.
What's this we?
Okay, I made a mistake. Let's go back to the 7777 web pages again.
This is the K-Toads version.
Yeah, so hang on a sec. Why would this not? It's weird that it didn't uppercase it. Click on KM0G again, KM9G in the middle column again. Restart.
Session has been lost.
I do that again. Well, we did restart it after this. I just want to make sure our configuration actually got in there, and do forwarding. Yeah.
Yeah, and it uppercased the top. It didn't uppercase BBS.
Huh. Well, that's okay.
Okay.
And it has one message queued. Okay, go scroll down a second. Let's see if we got the config all set right. Okay, so it's saying every 5 minutes, no, 15 minutes, it's going to try to send, but it should have sent the new message without waiting. Okay, so scroll back up and let's go to a different menu. I want to go to messages. Click on messages. Okay, so message 1, you're looking at message 2, and it says I'm going to KM9G. Yellow means queued.
Mm-hmm.
So why didn't it send it? 1 is not going to go anywhere. If you click on 1, it should give you something weird. Yeah, it's not queued. It's not going to go anywhere. Actually, I wonder what happens if you go and set the type. There's a pull down there. Type it. Set it to B for bulletin. And then save. And do save message also. I don't know what difference that makes. I don't really know how to use this very well.
That showed me the message.
That's interesting. Maybe it was trying to save it so you could put it on a file somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can agree with that. I hit save message and it's allowing me to save the message.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. So go back to messages. That's where you were. And it still says it's queued.
And this is the second message, not the all message.
Okay, you know what? It may be the reason why it's not doing it is because it doesn't know the nodes list thing hasn't been transferred yet. Let's go back to Qt term and check that. Because that usually takes like 20 minutes after getting the system started. So do a B return, B return, and then hit return. Hit return. Okay, now do a R space R. Yeah, it has. Okay, do password and send nodes. That's what the problem is. We didn't have the network up yet. And same thing on that one. And hopefully this just comes up and works. Oops, it's connecting. What are we doing? Yeah, do password and send nodes. And do N return. So it shows everybody, including the BBS. Okay. Now it ought to take care of itself.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going.
What's it doing? Go to Qt term.
Probably sending the big message.
Hey, go to Qt term. Let's watch this.
Did it finish?
I don't think so. No, it just brought the chat up. That's all it just did. It didn't do BBS stuff. So let's try this again. Actually, go to TO2 and type in BBS. And that will work too.
No.
Either one, it doesn't matter. Which would do one of them.
I was trying to remember which one was which.
Yeah, and do a SP space. The other one's call sign. KM9G. And then say foo. And say short message just for testing. And then hit carriage return and type /EX carriage return.
It's sending.
It just sent a beacon. I was unrelated. That's sending. Oh yeah, it's the big one. It's sending all your the network, the YouTube or whatever is slotting out the packet. You can't really hear it. It starts each packet and then mutes it. That's better.
There's no muting turned on. All his audio processing is off.
Doing it anyway. Maybe it's doing it on my end. I don't know. Maybe YouTube's doing it. Who knows? All right. So now if you if you go to it, do an LL or whatever, LL space 5 on each one, or you could just go to the, so number 3, whoop, you have to do BBS first. And then LL space 5. So yep, you got both messages.
Okay.
And if you go up to the top one, it should say F for forwarded. So try, you could expand the QT term so it's a little taller and just drag it down so we can see the.
Oh, you want the top one dragged down, not the bottom one dragged up.
Okay, so you see there's 3 messages and 2 of them are marked with an F forwarded. I don't know why I didn't do the bulletin. All right. Well, anyway, we're going long. So if you want to go to the 8085 message or menu, the BBS thing ought to be working, or show you something. Anyway.
1 second. What? There we go. Okay. Now we get over to that 8085 window.
Yeah.
Refresh. Oh, there's messages.
And now if you click on one of them, on one of the messages.
I hear you. I want to refresh over here because I can.
Okay, I think your window may be small, which is why it's not showing all of them. You could probably scroll it. I don't know.
Well, there's only 2. I'm seeing both of them.
Oh, okay. So, well, one seems to be missing.
Yes, there should be 3, but the one is a bulletin that didn't work.
Yeah, I wonder why it didn't actually even display the bulletin. It should be displaying the bulletin. I don't know. That's I have to figure out what v2.3.3 of TARPN Home does with bulletins. But click on the on one of those 2 messages, in that window where it says 2 and 1. Just click there. Is it doing anything? There you go.
Reading message 2.
And then you can scroll up and down. It should show it.
Short message just for testing. That's what we sent.
And it shows you the length.
This is the bigger message.
Yeah. So you can send a 9,999 byte message, and it should deal with that. And you can also cut and paste into the compose window. So you could grab something from another something and paste it. Now, when the message gets sent, at the top of each message, it gives you a clue as to how many, who sent the message and when. And so if you can create a chain which says, I'm only going to send my message to my neighbor, and I'll let my neighbor deal with delivering it to the next guy. So you could do an SP space KA2DEW, and if it's 1,000 hops to get there, it'll show each step and add that to the message, which is interesting. It's going to take a while to hit 10,000 bytes that way.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about it. I just wanted to send another message.
Now do a fan A and then paste it again. Copy paste. Boink, 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 boink. A few more pastes, and then see what it does.
Yeah, all right, so we
were
very close. 2,000 messages, 2007. So there's a limit on the window.
I guess it is. I don't know. I didn't know that. You hit speed dial. There you go.
Why did I do that? All right, so that one I hit send.
It should refresh that display automatically. It hasn't yet.
It sent out a beacon.
Why didn't it show the... Can you shrink your text a little bit so we see more window in here? I want to see more numbers in that list directory. I don't know why it's not... Maybe you can scroll and change the spacing in the screen. Maybe you can drag it. So right below where it says 2, maybe you can, or 1, you can drag the window around and try to change its size. Right above where it says message content, if you grab that right in that bar, I wonder if you can change it. Does it let you move it? No.
Nope.
Huh.
I don't know what else you're trying to see, but even when I shrink it way down,
I was hoping that it would give me more numbers, because I thought that you had you have 4 different messages in play here, and it's never shown us more than 2.
It never sent the foo message to the other node.
Right, but it doesn't show up in the node you sent it from either.
Right.
and it should.
Yeah, so there's only 2 messages showing. Let's try another compose.
Okay. Huh. So if you do the BBS from the command line, it will.
Yeah, nothing.
It didn't compose it.
It's refreshing now. So the foo message is there
Yeah, click refresh again. I think you. Oh, reading message 3.
because I clicked on message 3.
Okay, why isn't it displaying it?
It hasn't gotten it yet.
It's there. No, it has it. Yeah, you're
It says-
moving fast. This is written in some Python or something. It's not a particularly quick thing on a Raspberry Pi, and I think you're moving faster than it can deal with, and it's overflowing the user interface somehow. So just click on message 2 and then wait. Meh. That's annoying. All right. Click on chat. See if that came up. And that's not up either. If you hit refresh, the browser refresh, I mean.
Okay.
Okay, that did it.
Yep.
Okay. I'm annoyed. Steve Jobs moment here.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 messages total.
So if you go back to the 7777 web page, you can look and see what it thinks it has. And go to messages. Because we restarted since we did this, I guess. I don't know.
Probably.
It
It
is
is 2.
Oh,
Okay, we broke it. Awesome. We pushed our success boundary too far.
I guess we did. Go back
Let's try
to
going the other way.
go back to the scroll thing again. To the the chat thing again. Chat pane, and see if you can do the scroll bar if that works. It should. You can go back and look at your previous stuff
Mm-hmm.
when you first got on. Now there's also a button down there that says log. If you click on log, it goes back to the beginning of time. It didn't do anything.
I clicked it, yeah.
Click it again. Not
Second
doing
click.
it. That I've never seen fail. You click on the log button and it opens up the textual log that the scroll is going through, but it maintains all history. It goes back all the way to the beginning. And I don't know why it's not. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's a browser thing. Can you open up a browser on your Mac and try connecting across?
I did that.
It
I
didn't
don't remember
work.
what happened.
I don't know. Go to 8085 instead.
That's a host name I typed in wrong.
But go to 8085. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, for some reason it's not routing over there.
Huh.
Let me grab the IP address.
Because I've had trouble sometimes with like Firefox won't, but Safari will, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, it just doesn't like getting there from here.
Okay.
Pi firewall.
I don't know. All right. Well,
Is
some
it
of the
installed?
software
Is it on by default? The Pi firewall? I don't think it is. I guess it depends on your distro.
Dial-up BBSs are still a thing. Mostly they've moved to the internet, and you have to connect
Telnet,
over
yeah.
Telnet. All right.
It's pretty neat though.
There are a lot of things that work well. This is not one of them. Anyway, There's a lot of things that are under development. There's new stuff going on. Hang on, let me grab an item. Here's an item. Can I show you this?
Thank you, Ken. Ken says it's still a success in his book.
It is.
Well, we made lights blink the way they were supposed to.
So this guy, the control panel, this guy's packet node is not running. The yellow light's not on, but the Linux is running. And what we do with this is you can. This is the shutdown button. That's a reset button. This turns on and off the backup battery for the Raspberry Pi. Am I in view? I'm not. Shut down, reset battery, and the node being running or not. And
that's a 3D printed rack.
This piece is 3D printed. The whole node box is 3D printed. So this has got 4 of the Tate radios in it, and the Raspberry Pi is actually inside behind a little door. And the little door is open. They're magnetically clasped. And
that's a cool rack. I like that.
These little pieces here, actually, this little guy, that's the corner tower. And they stack, so you can.
So you've just got different pieces that all fit together. So you just keep expanding it, scaling it up as you go.
So this is you could make a single port or a 4-port. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. So they stack, and then there's a get that in there, and then there's a little screw you put in to make it so that it stays.
Now, what are you using for the base? Are you putting a shelf in between each level?
No, they're completely open. In fact, you can look down.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
And so that's the back end of a radio, and if you look up, there's a back end of the next radio.
So how are you mounting those to the rack? Just all through the
radios
front panel?
to the rack.
So the radios have these panels here. There's a piece that goes next to the radio, and screws go into the side of the radio.
Okay.
And then the panels are screwed in with these M3 nuts and bolts. So there's a captive. I can actually show you.
So you've got like fake rails that the radio's mounting to.
Yeah, they kind of mount to the front panel. The front panel mounts to the beams, and this is like one of the beams. Actually, that's not exactly the right one. Where is a good one? Hang on a second. Let me grab a box in progress. So the panels drop into the these hooks, and then screw onto the next beam above it.
Okay.
And then all 4 sides are the same. So from this perspective, they're completely symmetrical. And you decide, okay, the front of the box is going to have the radio sticking forward, and then I'll have the control panel and the Raspberry Pi on the bottom. This is actually, that's the panel that the Raspberry Pi is mounted on inside that box. It mounts here. And then in the front, you have the control panel goes here, and then a little label to tell you, what you're looking at.
Okay, so you've got a sleeve for the radio itself, and that makes sense.
Hando, this was the Get the Radios to Communicate show. The 3D printing show is some future far off date when I get a 3D
I'm trying
printer.
to find a radio already mounted that I can pull up and just wave at you, and I don't. I've got it.
Just tear apart your working system.
I'm gonna have to go pretty soon.
I have a structure. This is a different item. This actually is made to drop into a wooden cabinet, and this is where over here you have the S meter for the Tate. That's actually one of the products of our group. That little S meter hooks up to the expansion connector on the back.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's lots of stuff going on. The group is 700 people, and we're worldwide. It's the networks. There's 4 networks that have been successful and have grown to more than 5 stations. There's probably 8 or so and maybe 12 in the Tidewater group, which is the eastern end of Virginia. There's a network called SPROING, the Social Packet Radio Operators in North Georgia, in north of Atlanta. The NC Packet is in central North Carolina and trying to grow. And then we have a Kentuckiana group, which has 6 or 7 stations in Indiana and Kentucky. Around Fort Knox. They started around Fort Knox. And we'll
Thank
see.
you, Michael.
There's
Michael, appreciate the super chat, buddy. Thank you.
There's I mean, the point of this thing is we made a system that can be scaled, which is something that packet radio has only had in systems that have internet as a backhaul. Our system doesn't have to have internet. In fact, we swear we won't use the internet. The whole notion of TARPN is we're doing this offline, and where we create our own online, and then and you can actually spread this over a huge distance. However, because we're not using commercial backhauls, you are dependent on everybody in the middle. So if you wanted to have a conversation 500 miles long, there's probably going to be 40 stations in between. You can have redundancy in the architecture, but you don't have to. So which would you rather do? Be 400 miles long and have no redundancy, or 100 miles long and have complete redundancy? Well, we don't really have that choice because we're very dependent on the volunteers along the way. And so if someone says, "Oh, I'm moving," well, no, you can't move. Anyway, it's a really interesting aspect of ham radio. It's probably not quite as weird as moon bounce. Maybe it is as weird as moon bounce.
Maybe it is.
It certainly takes a lot more people. Moon bounce can be done with 2 people. We have probably 70 people in Central North Carolina, and we have 25 nodes connected together. So it's big, and a lot of people are working on aspects of it. I mean, you've seen Nino's project. Nino spent a lot of time on that on the NinoTNC, and I have spent probably a 20th as much as he has. Then the control panel project has had 3 different people work on it. We have the S meter is Don N2IRZ. He's done that. We have K4DBZ doing backup battery controllers. I don't know if you noticed, but down here, I have 4 of these 170 amp SLA batteries.
Jeez.
Why? Because I wanted to make a system with Dave to control that, and so that we can actually run our nodes on backup power and not destroy the batteries when they get weak. So part of the system is to do a safe shutdown of the system as the batteries go down. What we want to do is design a system where you have even just one single 200 watt panel won't run the packet node for more than a half an hour under good conditions. But what if you had the thing on a computer controlled timer, so that at 5 o'clock every day, it would turn the node on and run it until the battery gets weak and then shut it off. And the next day at 5 o'clock, you turned it back on. Now, if you're on mains power, you leave it on all the time. But if you're on a SHTF, what scenario you're working on? We're working on the scenario that main power goes away and doesn't come back for weeks, months, or ever. Okay, in that case, do you insist that everybody have a full up 24/7 backup solution? And if you do, how many node ops are you going to have during the peacetime? The answer is probably none, because that's going to be bloody expensive. But what if we could have the network up for 20 minutes a day, every day at the same time? Now you could bring up your local system, type an email like we were just screwing around with, and then let it shut down again. At 5 o'clock, it turns on, all the messages get transacted, and 25 minutes later, parts of the system turn off, depending on how many solar panels you've managed to obtain. Now, you could also use a generator. So what if you don't have solar panels? Well, you run your generator for an hour to bring your node up, and so on. So anyway, there's lots of ways to pull this, but we're trying to develop a whole bunch of different competitive even methods to solve all these problems, because it's fun. And maybe it's useful in an emergency, but it sure is fun.
I got a couple of questions for you real quick, and then we've got to get running.
Yeah.
Bill is asking, are there any nodes north of Charlotte, 30 miles north of Charlotte?
There are a lot of people that have pushed around doing this, and including buying hardware. So what we want to do is get on the NC packet at Groups.io email reflector and send us a message saying, this is where I am, I'm ready to play. And then the other people in the area may see the message. But more than that, I'll grab your address out of QRZ and plop you on our map. And we'll see. And I will tell you who's close, and we'll just have to start rattling some chains. The cost of doing business is almost entirely controlled by a coax length. because coax is by far the most expensive part of this project. Everything else we've
Mhm.
managed to make is cheap, so cheap that it almost disappears. The second thing is the most rare, what's the word? Talent. The most rare talent in building a packet node is evangelists.
Mhm.
Because
Well, we did our part here.
you do, and I really appreciate it more than you know. And I'm, it's what we're beholden to. But the trick is cold calling a ham because you need them. That's the hard part, because there's a
Right.
lot of hams that are okay with talking on 2 meters and on HF, and even showing up at meetings with the people that are already interested. But to cold call somebody is very hard. And anyway, so here we are. We have a project that depends on everybody being interested and active and partaking, and try to make it fun enough that it's attractive enough that we can have a critical mass and keep going. And that's
Right.
where we are. So
And then the
TARPN
last
project,
question that
yeah.
we got was, is there a HF backhaul to connect distant regions to distant regions?
For the message transfer, the bulletin board stuff, that's definitely usable. People have gotten on and tried it and done it for a little while. Nobody's left one up that's still up today. But the most recent conversation about it was within two people who were well within 40-meter range, and between the Tidewater area of Virginia and down here in Raleigh, and that could happen. It just hasn't yet. It takes a dedicated HF radio and antenna, or someone that's really consistent about having the system hooked up at the right time of day. Thank you, VE5SAR.
Yes, that's
yeah.
dirty. All right, we have sent mail back and forth. We have chatted with ourselves. We've set up 2 nodes. We've got the radios working. This was massive amounts of success. Thank you all for coming along on the journey. Now we got to figure out where to go from here, because I don't think there's a backhaul to Arizona yet.
Well,
No.
there could be a backhaul from Arizona.
Right.
I mean, where are you going? How many hams do you know within simplex range?
I just moved, so I don't know. I just got here.
So get on 5.2 simplex and talk about what you're doing. Actually, the best way to do this is get on a statewide net on HF or a net, and tell people you're having trouble doing it, and this is what it looks like. And then see, because especially if it's technical, all the hams will come out of the woodwork to help you solve your technical problem, and some of them might stick. All right, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Ted,
And I'm going to say
appreciate it.
Goodbye to everybody. I'm hitting the button.
Hit the button, Steve-O.
I was going to hit the leave studio.